The world of energy is changing rapidly, and the balance of power is shifting away from the West. A new alliance of four major oil producers, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China, has emerged, and they have signed a treaty to cut oil exports to the West and increase their cooperation in the energy sector. What does this mean for the global economy, the environment, and the geopolitics of the Middle East? In this article, I will explore the background, the motives, and the implications of this historic deal. Before we dive into this intriguing analysis, a quick reminder: your support fuels the engine of knowledge. If you appreciate the content we bring you, consider buying us a coffee using the link provided in the description below. Your support helps us continue unraveling the complexities of our ever-changing world. China is the world's largest importer of oil, and it relies heavily on the Middle East for its energy needs. However, China is also facing increasing pressure from the United States, which is trying to contain its rise and challenge its influence in the region. To counter this, China has been seeking new partnerships and investments in the Middle East, especially with Iran, which is under U.S. sanctions and isolated from the international community. China and Iran have a long history of economic and diplomatic ties, dating back to the ancient Silk Road. In 2023, they signed a 25-year strategic partnership agreement, which covers trade, investment, infrastructure, security, and cultural cooperation. The agreement is worth an estimated $400 billion, and it includes a provision for China to buy Iranian oil at a discounted price. China has also helped Iran to develop its nuclear program and has defended it from U.S. criticism and pressure at the United Nations. China's partnership with Iran is not only driven by economic interests, but also by strategic considerations. China sees Iran as a key ally in its Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of roads, railways, ports, and pipelines. Iran is located at the crossroads of these regions, and it can provide China with access to the Indian Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Caspian Sea. Iran is also a major regional power with a large population, a strong military, and a significant influence over its neighbors, such as Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. By supporting Iran, China can gain a foothold in the Middle East and counter the U.S. presence and influence in the area. Iran is one of the world's largest oil producers, with proven reserves of about 156 billion barrels, ranking fourth after Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and Canada. However, Iran's oil industry has been crippled by U.S. sanctions, which have prevented it from selling its oil to the international market and have cut off its access to foreign technology, investment, and financing. As a result, Iran's oil production has fallen from about 4 million barrels per day in 2018 to about 2.3 million in 2023, and its oil revenues have dropped from about $60 billion in 2018 to about $20 billion in 2023. However, Iran has not given up on its oil ambitions, and it has found ways to circumvent the U.S. sanctions and increase its oil wealth. One of these ways is to smuggle its oil to other countries such as China, India, Turkey, and Syria, using various methods such as ship-to-ship transfers, false documentation, and disguised tankers. According to some estimates, Iran has been able to export about 1.5 million of oil in 2023, despite the U.S. sanctions, and earn about $30 billion in revenues. Another way that Iran has increased its oil wealth is to develop its domestic oil industry and to diversify its energy sources. Iran has invested heavily in its oil infrastructure, such as refineries, pipelines, and storage facilities, and has improved its oil quality and efficiency. Iran has also expanded its natural gas production, which is the second largest in the world after Russia, and has increased its electricity generation, which is mostly based on natural gas and hydropower. Iran has also pursued renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and nuclear power, and has set a target of producing 30% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2030. By increasing its oil wealth, Iran has been able to strengthen its economy, which has been suffering from high inflation, unemployment, and poverty. Iran has also been able to boost its military, which has been involved in several conflicts and proxy wars in the region, such as in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Lebanon. Iran has also been able to enhance its regional and international status and to challenge the US and its allies, such as Israel and Saudi Arabia. Iran is often grouped with other Arab countries in the Middle East, such as Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, and Algeria, which are also major oil producers and exporters. However, Iran is different from these countries in many ways, such as in its culture, religion, politics, and foreign policy. One of the main differences between Iran and other Arab countries is its culture and identity. Iran is not an Arab country, but a Persian country with a distinct history, language, and civilization. Iran has a rich and diverse cultural heritage, which includes ancient monuments such as Persepolis and Isfahan, and modern arts such as cinema and literature. Iran also has a diverse population, which includes various ethnic groups such as Persians, Kurds, Azeris, Baluchis, and Arabs, and various religious sects such as Shia, Sunni, Zoroastrian, Christian, and Jewish. Another difference between Iran and other Arab countries is its religion and sect. Iran is the only country in the world that is ruled by a Shia Islamic theocracy, which is based on the doctrine of Vilayat-e Faqih, or the guardianship of the jurist. This means that the supreme leader, who is a senior cleric, has the ultimate authority over all aspects of life and appoints the key institutions of the state, such as the judiciary, the military, and the media. The supreme leader is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the leader of the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, IRGC, which is a powerful and influential branch of the military that oversees the nuclear program, the ballistic missile program, and the foreign operations such as the Quds Force, which supports various militias and proxies in the region. Other Arab countries, on the other hand, are mostly ruled by Sunni monarchies or dictatorships, which are based on the doctrine of al-wala wa al-bara, or loyalty and disavowal. This means that the rulers have the absolute power over their subjects and demand their obedience and allegiance, while rejecting and opposing any dissent or opposition. The rulers also control the key institutions of the state, such as the judiciary, the military, and the media, and use them to suppress any political or social movements such as the Arab Spring, which challenged their legitimacy and authority. A third difference between Iran and other Arab countries is its politics and foreign policy. Iran is a revolutionary and revisionist state which seeks to change the status quo and the balance of power in the region and the world. Iran is also an anti-imperialist and anti-Zionist state which opposes the US and its allies, especially Israel, and supports the Palestinian cause and the resistance movements such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad. Iran is also a leader and a patron of the Shia Crescent, which is a geopolitical concept that refers to the alliance of Shia-dominated countries and groups in the region, such as Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Bahrain. Other Arab countries, on the other hand, are mostly status quo and conservative states, which seek to maintain the existing order and the balance of power in the region and the world. Other Arab countries are also mostly pro-Western and pro-Israeli states, which cooperate with the US and its allies, especially Israel, and oppose the Iranian influence and the resistance movements such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad. Other Arab countries are also followers and clients of the Sunni axis, which is a geopolitical concept that refers to the alliance of Sunni-dominated countries and groups in the region, such as Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Jordan, and Morocco. The implication: Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China sign new treaty to cut oil in the West. The new treaty that Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China have signed to cut oil exports to the West and increase their cooperation in the energy sector is a game changer for the global economy, the environment, and the geopolitics of the Middle East. The treaty has several implications, such as: for the global economy, the treaty will reduce the supply and increase the price of oil, which will affect the growth and the inflation of the oil-importing countries, especially in the West. The treaty will also increase the demand and the price of alternative energy sources, such as natural gas, renewable energy, and nuclear power, which will benefit the oil-exporting countries, especially in the East. The U.S. and the West suffer from the oil cuts from Iran, Saudi Arabia, and China in several ways. First, the oil cuts reduce the supply and increase the price of oil in the global market, which affects the growth and the inflation of the oil-importing countries, especially in the West. Second, the oil cuts increase the demand and the price of alternative energy sources, such as natural gas, renewable energy, and nuclear power, which benefit the oil-exporting countries, especially in the East. Third, the oil cuts expose the U.S. and the West to the risk of energy insecurity and instability, especially if there is a conflict or a crisis in the Middle East or other oil-producing regions too. Fourth, the oil cuts undermine the U.S. and the West's influence and leverage in the region and the world, as they lose their ability to use oil as a diplomatic tool or a sanction against their adversaries. Iran and China are emerging as world leaders by strengthening their strategic partnership and challenging the U.S.-led international order. Iran and China have signed a 25-year cooperation agreement that covers major economic activities from oil and mining to industry, transportation, and agriculture. Iran and China have also pledged to support each other in safeguarding their national sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national dignity, and to oppose the interference by external forces in their internal affairs. Iran and China have also called on the U.S. to lift sanctions on Iran and to promote the full and effective implementation of the 2015 nuclear deal. Iran and China have also cooperated in spreading anti-U.S. disinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic. Iran and China are also expanding their influence and presence in the region and the world by forming alliances and networks with other countries and groups that share their interests and values. Iran and China are both part of the BRICS group, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, and aims to promote economic cooperation and development among emerging markets. Iran and China are also both involved in the Belt and Road Initiative, which is China's ambitious plan to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of infrastructure projects. Iran and China are also both supporters of the Palestinian cause and the resistance movements such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad, which oppose Israel and the U.S. Iran and China are also both leaders and patrons of the Shia Crescent and the Sunni Axis, respectively, which are geopolitical concepts that refer to the alliances of Shia-dominated and Sunni-dominated countries and groups in the region. If you appreciate the content we bring you, consider supporting us by buying us a coffee through the link in the description. Your support keeps the wheels turning on this journey through the twists and turns of our ever-evolving world. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time.